Good morning. It is Thursday morning, January the 15th. Had a long conversation with one of my sponsees this morning, and a couple of different word pictures came to my mind for recovery. And it doesn't matter what information you're using as your guide, as your head, as your compass, as your fulcrum. Doesn't matter. We look at it in terms of a seesaw. You're either on the low end, on the high end, or you're balanced in the middle. And that's where we try to be, balanced in the middle. We can't know everything, even though we may want to know everything. There is about recovery. There's no way we can know everything. We can only know what we learn as we learn it through experiences and circumstances. And my sponsee called me this morning because she was a little distressed with one of her sponsees that doesn't reciprocate in the relationship. And so when sponsee A is having an event, celebrating, inviting people to her house, taking people out to dinner, whatever she's hosting, of course you want people to attend. Well, my sponsee's having a hard time getting sponsee A to show up to support her. Not the first time. It's been going on for a while. And so, I directed her, suggested to her that maybe you pull back, right? And stop trying to drag a horse to water, right? Shared my experience with her. I've tried to do that. Something happens when you make a transition in the dynamics of the relationship, when you go from being the guide and the follower to friends, right? Nothing wrong with that as long as those dynamics are still in place. We can be friends. That's an additional component to our relationship. Our primary relationship in recovery is sponsor, the guide, sponsee, the follower, right? And so, if you don't want to take my direction as the sponsor, you still need to be taking direction from someone. That's not a problem. We're not territorial. We're not possessive. We don't own you. You can get your help wherever you can get your help. The important thing is working a program. So that morphed us into a conversation about what's more important, going to meetings or working a program. Well, they are two sides of the same coin. You cannot separate the head of a coin from the tail of the coin. It's going to flip one way or the other or land on the side. We used to always say there were only two sides to a coin, heads and tails. But there's also the little ridge that makes the coin. Every now and then, we'll flip a coin and we'll see it land on the edge where it is neither heads nor tails. That's the gray area that we're talking about in recovery, with sponsorship, with friendship, with sponsee. So if we see this coin, heads, tails, the ridge, a lot of times we end up on the ridge. I think we all get there at some point in our journey. Doesn't matter if the journey is the sponsor has 32 years, the sponsee has 22 years, and then the follower sponsee has 4 years. Doesn't matter, right? One coin, recovery. Sometimes you got to pull back. Sometimes we all have to reach the point of change in our own time, in our own way, right? It doesn't hurt to pull back and allow that person to find their own point. We also looked at it being a bridge. When we first come into recovery, and on the left side of the bridge is addiction, on the right side of the bridge is recovery. And so we're on the bridge. We're doing everything that's suggested of us: day 1, day 2, day 30, day 60, day 90, 6 months, 9 months. Oh, we got a year, right? We haven't used a mind or a mood altering illegal chemical in 365 days. We're 25% of the way to the right side of the bridge. We're feeling great. We're doing what we need to do. We're taking suggestion. We're setting goals. We're accomplishing goals. Now, right, we're at 2 years. We're at 3 years. We're at 5 years. We haven't used an illegal substance or legal substance, alcohol, in 5 years, because this is a program of complete abstinence. So we haven't had any alcohol. We haven't used an illegal substance in 5 years. Guess what? We have a home now. We're not homeless. We have transportation if we wanted it. Not everyone wants the responsibility of a vehicle. But let's say, for the purposes of this illustration, that we have a vehicle. Now we can go where we want, when we want. We have employment. We're working. We're gainfully employed. We got a diamond ring. We got a gold watch. We got a gold necklace. We got clothes that we want. We look like we want to look. We got, we smell like we want to smell. Life is good. I barely recognize that one day old person that came in here completely bankrupt, spiritually, mentally, physically bankrupt, derelict, degraded, isolated, didn't trust anyone, didn't have anything. Family wouldn't fool with us. We may or may not have done some jail time. And so we had all of these issues on day 1. Here we are, 5 years later. Those issues are in a distant memory on the left side of the bridge. Here's the dilemma, right? Now we're on the edge of the coin. We're not going back to the left, and we haven't moved on to the right. And so, as a sponsor, what can I do to get you to the other side, right? And so that's the dilemma, right? Because it's not my responsibility to get you to the other side unless you're asking me to help you get to the other side. If you're in the middle of the bridge, the old folk used to say, how you today? Fair to middling. So in the middle of the pack, right, is where some of us want to be. We don't want to do any more work, not going to do any more work, not going to work a program for real, right? We're going to stay clean, and we're going to continue to amass the material external benefits that we've been able to amass, but it's a false sense of security. Right? It's a slippery slope. It's a rug that can be pulled out from under you at any time, because the program fortifies and strengthens. And so it is almost a must to get to the other side. We call it the toolkit, right? Because every day we're learning something new. Every day we're having a different experience that we never had before. And so if we stay in the middle of the bridge and we don't pick up any additional information, we don't practice any additional principles, right? We're still angry, we're bitter, we're contentious, we're critical, we're demeaning, we're combative, we're resistant, rebellious, right? We might even be doing some illegal stuff like white collar crimes. We might be stealing. We might be deceptive and dishonest, right? And all of that is okay with me because I'm not getting high, is what we tell ourselves when we're kind of stagnated in the middle of the bridge. We get comfortable with the trimmings of life, and we get comfortable with our defects of character, right? We start to use little cliches that I'm not where I used to be. I'm better than I was. I ain't there yet. God hasn't removed that. God knows my heart, right? I didn't take nothing today, right? And so we justify complacency, pretty much, right? Or satisfaction. We could be satisfied with who we are at that point. We could be satisfied with what we're doing at that point. But my point in all of this is that this is not the program, right? This is not what is considered working a program. And so you can or you cannot, the choice is yours. But as a sponsor, I may need to pull back and allow you to live what you consider to be your best life. I may feel like there's more life for you, more potential for you, greater spiritual growth for you. But if that's not what you're feeling, then I need to pull back. Then I need to take a step back, and I need to be available when you need to ask for direction. And so that's what I do. That's what I suggested my sponsee do. And, trust God that there is a point. Just like there was a point for me to stop using, there was also a point in which I knew I needed to work the program. And I needed to work it intentionally, and I needed to work it vigilantly, and I need to work it diligently. And that's all text, right? We find that in all of our literature that, those who work a program, get the best type of life, the life you want to live, the goals you set for yourself. And so if the goals that you set for yourself are of a spiritual nature, then the spiritual principles of our program will most assuredly get us there. Hey, my folk, have a great day.